What is going on, guys? Chip here. Welcome back to another Pokemon TCG video where today we're going to be reviving one of my older series that I definitely intended to make more videos in, and I'm excited to get to do that now, and that is going to be Ways to Play, where we take a look at a newly revealed card or a card that, you know, just came out in certain instances, and we're going to look at different ways that you could play it in the standard format. Different support cards that it has access to, ways that it could be competitively viable. And we're going to kick things off by looking at the new Celebi and Venusuar GX that just got revealed from SM9 Tag Bolt over in Japan. And I think it's going to be called like Tag Team, something like that in North America. So looking forward to that new set. As you can see here, 1 out of 181 cards. We just got done with Lost Thunder, which was a massive set at 214 cards, I think. So right back with 181. Celestial Storm was like 160 cards. That's not including secret rares, of course. So pretty crazy stuff that we have these massive sets. And but yeah, I'm excited to take a look at this. I will say I do think that this is one of the weaker of the Tag Team GXs we've seen so far, but we're going to see what we can make work with it. We're going to look at all the different support options it has and see if we could maybe find some plus sides to this card. So we'll just go ahead and read the card starting off here. Of course, Celebi and Venusuar GX, 270 HP basic grass type Pokemon. That's one thing we just got to mention here. 270 HP on a basic Pokemon. All of these tag teams are basics. They all have a ton of HP like this. But they do all give up 3 prize cards when they get knocked out. So definitely worth noting there. When this Pokemon goes down, it will give up 3 prize cards. So that's a pretty hefty cost, but at the same time, it's got so much HP. And its attacks are pretty costly here, but there are ways to accelerate energy to it. There are ways to make its attacks cost less, which we'll talk about here in a moment. But let's just read the card first off before we do anything else. So let's just go through. Shoutouts to Pokebeach. We're going to be using their site for reference for all of these translations and all of the articles and pictures and stuff we're going to be looking at. So shoutouts to Pokebeach. Link will be in the description down below to all of the articles we look at today. So Pollen Hazard here for a grass and 2 colorless. So a grass and a double colorless energy. 50 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned, confused, and poisoned. So pretty good that you get to inflict all of those status conditions for an attack, but it's a pretty hefty attack cost for 3 energy, and it only does 50 damage, so nothing amazing there to me. I've also got Solar Beam here, 150 damage for a grass, and 2 colorless. 150, like I said, so just a vanilla 150, no effects on that guy. And then we've also got the GX attack here, Evergreen GX, with the cool new plus mechanic we see coming out in this new set with the Tag Team GX Pokemon. So let's read what this attack does. Evergreen GX, 180 damage, heal all damage from this Pokemon. If this Pokemon has at least 1 extra grass energy attached to it, shuffle all cards from your discard pile into your deck. You can't use more than 1 GX attack per game. So if we have a 5th energy attached, a grass energy, then we get to get everything from our discard pile and just shuffle it back into our deck. So there was a card a couple years ago, Lysander's Trump card, that actually ended up getting banned from the standard and expanded formats. It's still banned over in expanded today, even though it's rotated out of standard, which had this similar type effect. It was a supporter card, and it made both players shuffle their discard piles back into their decks. So it's this is certainly not as powerful as that was, because this is a 5 energy attack as opposed to just a supporter, which you can play any turn in the game. You got to do a lot of work to get to this point. But it can be good. You can shuffle back healing cards. Maybe if we're going that route with like Gardenias or Acerolas, something like that. You can shuffle back things like Guzma, which can be good. But you're also going to shuffle back a lot of your clunky cards. Things like that you don't need in the late game. Things like your Ultra Balls and maybe your Net Balls. Like those are things we're just not going to need later on in the game. But it does do 180 damage, which is a solid number to hit. It'll knock out a lot of Pokemon there, and then with a Choice Band 210, you'll knock out things like Zoroark GX. But once again, we might be moving to a format where it's dominated by 270 HP Pokemon. And if that's the case, 180 is not going to... It might seem like a lot, but it's not going to be that much damage Crazy to think, but at the same time, you know, you are healing all the damage on this Pokemon, so a pretty solid GX attack. So I will say, like I said at the beginning, I do think this is a little bit weaker of a card compared to like the other tag teams we're looking at, but we're going to see what we can do to make it work. I also just want to point out the cool new secret rare version of this card that got revealed. This actually just got revealed this morning, I believe. Really pretty card, and also this, I mean, this has to be like the best artwork of all time, this Magikarp and Wailord tag team. We'll talk about that card in the future, but we are talking about Celebi and Venusuar here. So before we jump into cards that are currently standard legal, let's take a look and take a moment and look at some of the other Tag Bolt cards that could be useful with this. One of them I wanted to look at was, oh, I think it was a grass type, sorry, I already skipped past it, is the Parasect right here. It's got the ability Panic Spore. Put 2 damage counters on your opponent's confused Pokemon between turns. So, of course, the first attack here, Pollen Hazard, does confuse the active Pokemon. So that could be a nice way to get, you know, a couple damage counters in play thanks to that status condition. Now, I don't know if this ability stacks. You know, if we look at Infernape, that is in the standard format, that has a similar type of ability for Burned, it does not stack, but that's because Burn already does damage between turns. It doesn't say they take 6 more damage, it says they take 6 damage instead of 2 damage counters. So since Confusion doesn't already add a status condition, I'm actually not sure if this would stack or not. We might need an actual like judge ruling on it to know for certain, like a compendium ruling. But there's a chance it would stack, which could make it good. It can help boost your numbers here with you know, Pollen Hazard right now you're doing 50, then you got Burn, that's 20, Confused, you know, if they flip Tails, that's 30, Poison, that's 10, so you're doing guaranteed 80, potential 110 if they were to go for the Confusion flip, and you can boost that even more, of course, with the Parasect here. And we've also got one other card I want to look at. It's a Psychic type down here, and that is going to be right here, Muck, which has the ability Poison Sacs. Your opponent's poisoned Pokemon remained poisoned even after evolving or devolving. So I'm not sure that this would necessarily be good. There's already a stadium that I think is sort of like this, like Sea of Nothingness, that lets you keep status conditions if you evolve. So not sure if this is necessarily great, but it can't be bumped like a stadium. It's a pretty gross looking artwork, so that's another reason you might want to stay away from it. But I mean, what else do you expect from Muck, right? So yeah, just a couple of things there from the new set I wanted to point out. You know, there could be other things from one of their like SM8B or SM9A that might be in this set that we don't know yet that could be good with Venusaur and Celebi, but for now that's all from Tag Bolts that we're going to look at. So let's go ahead and switch it over to PTCGO and take a look at some of the other cards that we already have in the standard format that you could potentially use with this card. Speaking of which, we'll go ahead and just talk about the Infernape here. We mentioned it briefly because of the Parasect. There's a fighting type as well as a fire type of this guy, but we're going to be looking at the fighting type right here, and put 6 damage counters instead of 2 on your opponent's burned Pokemon between turns. So that's a way we could ramp up the damage of that Pollen Hazard attack. You know, could potentially be good, but it is a stage 2, so I wouldn't expect you would want to play Infernape with Venusaur. Just kind of throwing some things out there that, you know, they do function with it even if they're not the best. We've also got Arceus Prism Star. This is actually an interesting thing we could use to accelerate energy. Trinity Star, 30 damage. You can use this attack only if you have a Grass, Water, and Lightning Pokemon on your bench. Search your deck for up to 3 basic energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon in any way that you like. So we could, you know, if we have like an Alolan Vulpix in play, maybe if it's a Lightning type we're playing, you know, Vikavolt. We could also be playing, you know, Zebstrika to let us discard our hand, draw 4. Those are all cards we could be playing to allow for those type coverages, and of course Grass type would be the Venusaur itself. You know, we can search our deck for up to 3 energy and just slap them onto Venusaur. So that's a potential way we could accelerate energies to it. We also got Rayquaza here from Guardians Rising with Turbo Storm, 30 damage. Attach 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. And then with the new Shuckle, that's not even a Pokemon I put in here yet, but we've got the Shuckle with Fresh Squeezed. Lets you, you know, when you put it from your hand onto your bench, you may search your deck for up to 3 basic energy cards and discard them, then shuffle your deck. So it's a way to get energies down that we can use to accelerate with Rayquaza. Another potential energy acceleration option we have is Laurentiis Gx with Flower Supply, 40 damage, attach 2 basic grass energy cards from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way that you like. And this also has 210 HP. You know, it's got a good attack for its second attack as well, Solar Blade, 120 heal 30, and then Chlorocythe is a decent option as well. So, you know, those are all energy acceleration options. Another one could potentially be Abomasnow here at stage 1. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may attach a grass energy card from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon. So a way to just get another attachment there. Shining Genesect is one I just kind of threw in here. I think this could be a good, like, one prizer maybe with Venusaur. Energy Reload lets you get extra energy. And then Gaia Blaster, of course, 50 damage plus 20 more for each grass energy attached to this Pokemon. Not really, you know, focused on attackers in these type of videos, like secondary attackers. We're mostly going to be talking about like support Pokemon, but we'll throw some other ones in there, here and there. We could also play maybe this with a Sceptile GX deck. You know, of course, the Sceptile from Celestial Storm has Power of Nature, prevent all damage done to your Pokemon that have any grass energy attached to them by attacks from your opponent's Ultra Beasts, which can be huge against things like Buzzwole GX and Blacephalon GX. Powerful Storm, not a terrible attack either. And then Sceptile GX could be a potentially good attacker here. Mach Cut, 60 damage, discard a special energy. Leaf Cyclone 130 and move a grass from this Pokemon to one of your benched Pokemon, so then we can start to power up the Venusaur kind of thing. And Jungle Heal could heal all damage from our Pokemon that has any grass energy attached to it. So yeah, I like all the options there that Sceptile could provide, and especially because we have Grovyle here with Sunshine Grace. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may search your deck for a grass Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Looking at the other Laurentiis here, we've got the Laurentiis with Sunny Day. To potentially boost damage output, the attacks of your grass and fire Pokemon do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So if we go back and look at the Venusaur here, you know, 150, you know, adding 70 damage to that, or adding 20 damage to that makes it 170. Adding a Choice Band on there makes it 200, so that's not a bad number to hit. That'll knock out things like Alolan Ninetales. You know, if we add another Laurentiis to the mix, you know, we're boosting 40 damage, so that could be good. And it can also combo well with Pollen Hazard to knock out some basic Pokemon that have like 70 to 90 HP, something like that. And then, of course, it can boost Evergreen to be able to knock out opposing tag team Pokemon in one hit. So there could be something there, potentially. I wouldn't really necessarily hold my breath for it, though. And looking at some of the other support Pokemon, we'll talk about Seviper. I guess this is kind of along the vein of the Parasect and the Infernape. You know, more poison, put one more damage counter on your opponent's poisoned Pokemon between turns. Not something I really see seeing play with Venusaur Celebi, but just something I wanted to throw in here. And these are, I think, the two best partner options for Celebi and Venusaur. And I think the one that makes the most sense right off the bat is going to be Venusaur with Jungle Totem. You know, we're going to have multiple Venusaurs in the deck already with Venusaur Celebi. So let's just throw some Jungle Totem Venusaurs in there. Each basic grass energy attached to your Pokemon provides 2 grass energy. You can't apply more than 1 Jungle Totem ability at a time. So this makes it so that our attacks cost much, much, much less with Celebi and Venusaur. You know, if we're doing for just like 2 attachments, we can, you know, pull off the Solar Beam or the Evergreen GX. If we're playing, you know, double colorless energy in the deck, which we could, since all of Celebi and Venusaur's attacks do take a double colorless energy, you know, we could just get 1 grass energy plus 1 double colorless. So that's one way to kind of look at it there. And I think that, you know, this probably is going to be the best way to play Venusaur in Celebi GX. Is going to be with the Venusaur from Shining Legends. Let's also take a look real fast at the Vikavolt that you guys know and love from Sun and Moon base set. Strong Charge. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may search your deck for a Grass Energy card and a Lightning Energy and attach them to your Pokemon in any way that you like, then shuffle your deck. So just getting those 2 attachments on a stage 2 is pretty solid, and I think it's something we could see used with Venusaur and Celebi, but I think Venusaur ultimately is going to be the better stage 2 partner to go with it. So let's just look at a couple trainers here that I definitely wanted to mention. This is a big one, I think, Aether Paradise Conservation, a card that really has not seen very much play in the Pokemon TCG. But that's because there hasn't really been a great grass Pokemon to use it with. I think this could be the best one right now, Venusaur Celebi, since it is a basic, it has so much HP. Basic Grass Pokemon and Basic Lightning Pokemon, both yours and your opponents, take 30 less damage from the opponent's attacks. So I think this could be a good combo there. We've also got another Stadium card, Life Forest Prism Star. Once during each player's turn, that player may heal 60 damage and remove all special conditions from one of their Grass Pokemon. So we do have a lot of HP on the Celebi Venusaur. We also you know, require a lot to get powered up, like a couple attachments at least, even if we have a Venusaur in play, the Shining Legends Venusaur. So we might need to be healing this guy. We might need to use things like the Life Forest Prism Star. We might need to be using things like Gardenia here. Heal 80 damage from one of your Pokemon that has any grass energy attached to it. This is definitely something that could be really, really good. So healing, you know, a potential 140 damage in one turn. That'll erase basically most, you know, relevant attacks right now. Once tag teams come out, it's going to be a whole different story, though. And then one other card to talk about is the new Netball from Lost Thunder. Search your deck for a basic grass Pokemon or a basic grass energy card. Reveal them and put them in your hand, then shuffle your deck. So, can get our, you know, basic Pokemon in play. It's great for consistency to maybe get out Bulbasaurs if we're going this route. You know, it can get out Grass Energy so we can guarantee attachments. So just a solid consistency card all around that is good for grass support. So that is going to do it, guys, for Celebi and Venusaur GX. Like I said, I don't know that this is the most, like, viable of all the tag team GXs, but I wanted to cover it, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what other support cards exist that could go well with Celebi and Venusaur, other potential partners for this card. Let me know what are some of the ones you guys have thought of that you are thinking about that could pair well with it, and let me know what tag team GX card you want me to look at next in our next series, our next episode of Ways to Play. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for the support as always. Be sure to check out Pokebeach, who is where we pulled all of these awesome pictures and articles and things from. So thank you guys for watching. Be sure you're subscribed to like the video if you enjoyed, and that is going to do it for me. I'm going to get out of here, guys, and until next time, take care.